Welcome to the channel, everybody. Buckle up, because today we're going deep down the rabbit hole. Forget everything you think you know about the spinning globe. We're about to lay out 20 reasons why that theory just doesn't hold water. We're going to break down the science, the conspiracies, and the personal experiences that suggest we might be living on a stationary flat Earth. So grab your thinking caps, open your minds, and get ready to have your world rocked. This is going to be a wild ride. Alright, so the first thing they teach you in school is that the Earth is a globe, right? But think about it, have you ever actually seen the curvature of the Earth with your own two eyes? If the Earth were really a sphere, you should see at least a slight curve, right? But we don't. It's always a flat horizon as far as the eye can see. People have taken pictures from airplanes at cruising altitude, and guess what? Still a flat horizon? It makes you wonder, man. Think about water, man. It always finds its level, right? Puddles, lakes, oceans, they all lie flat. Now, if the Earth were a spinning ball, wouldn't that water be trying to spill off the sides? Especially at the equator where the spin is supposedly the fastest? Shouldn't we be seeing some serious water displacement? But we don't. The oceans stay put, nice and flat. It just doesn't add up with the whole spinning globe theory. Here's another thing that always gets me, the horizon. No matter how high you go, whether you're on top of a mountain, in a plane, or even looking out from space, the horizon always appears to be at eye level. Now, if the Earth were a sphere, shouldn't the horizon drop away from your line of sight as you ascend? But it doesn't. It stays right there at eye level, which suggests that the Earth isn't curving at all. In the 19th century, Samuel Rowbotham conducted an experiment on the Bedford level. He set up a telescope 8 inches above the water. If the Earth were curved, he shouldn't see a distant flag, but he saw the entire flag, no curvature at all. The Bedford level experiment caused quite a stir. Alright, let's get a little scientific here. Back in the late 1800s, two physicists, Albert Michelson and Edward Morley, conducted an experiment to detect something called luminiferous ether. The idea was that if the Earth was moving through space, there had to be this medium, this ether that light waves traveled through. So they designed this incredibly precise experiment, but guess what? They couldn't find any evidence of this ether. Their results were null. Some people took this to mean that the ether didn't exist, but others saw it as evidence that the Earth wasn't moving at all. Here's another head-scratcher for you. Stellar parallax is the apparent shift in the position of a star when viewed from different locations. The idea is that as the Earth orbits the Sun, our viewpoint changes, and nearby stars should appear to shift slightly against the background of more distant stars. But here's the thing. The amount of parallax observed is much smaller than what it should be if the Earth is orbiting the Sun at the speed and distance that we're told. It's almost like the stars aren't really shifting at all, which could mean that the Earth isn't moving either. Ever seen a gyroscope? It's a fascinating device. It spins on an axis, and once it gets going, it's incredibly stable. Now, pilots and engineers use gyroscopes for navigation because they're so reliable. But here's the thing, if the Earth were actually rotating, wouldn't that rotation affect how a gyroscope behaves? Shouldn't the gyroscope's orientation drift slightly as the Earth spins beneath it? But it doesn't. They stay locked in, suggesting that the Earth isn't rotating after all. Okay, the Coriolis effect. You've probably heard of it. It's this idea that the Earth's rotation causes objects traveling long distances to deflect to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. But there are also a lot of inconsistencies and things that just don't add up. For example, snipers and long-range shooters don't have to account for the Coriolis effect when they're aiming. So, while it's an interesting idea, it's far from a slam-dunk piece of evidence for a spinning globe. Think about all those long-haul flights, the ones that go halfway around the world. If the Earth were really a globe, wouldn't the most efficient route be to fly over the North Pole? But that's not what happens. Instead, planes often take these weird curved routes that seem to make more sense on a flat Earth map, and then there are those emergency landings that just don't make sense on a globe. It's as if the pilots are navigating based on a different map altogether. Gravity, man. It's this mysterious force that they say keeps our feet planted on the ground and the Earth in orbit around the sun. But what if gravity as we understand it isn't the whole story? Think about it. Maybe there's another explanation, something other than gravity, that's keeping us grounded. Alright, let's talk about Antarctica. It's a massive, mysterious continent at the South Pole. The Antarctic Treaty restricts access. Only monitored scientists are allowed. Why the secrecy? What are they hiding down there? Some say Antarctica holds the key to our world's true nature. They claim it's a massive ice wall surrounding the flat Earth. We've all seen the footage, the grainy images of Neil Armstrong taking that one small step on the moon. But what if it never happened? What if the moon landing was faked? I know it sounds crazy, but think about it. There are inconsistencies in the official story, things that just don't add up. Like the waving flag in a vacuum, the lack of a blast crater under the lunar module, and the strange shadows in the photographs. How did the astronauts get through the Van Allen radiation belts without being fried? It makes you wonder, man. Okay, think about how things look when they're far away. They appear to get smaller and smaller until they disappear into the distance, right? That's perspective. Now, on a flat Earth, the vanishing point is always at eye level, no matter how high you go. But on a globe, the vanishing point should drop below eye level as you ascend. So next time you're looking out at the distance, pay attention to the vanishing point. We're told the sun is a massive ball of burning gas, millions of miles away, and the moon is a big rock reflecting the sun's light. But what if it's not that simple? Some believe the sun and moon are much smaller and closer. They say both are the same size, circling above the flat Earth. We're told that we have all these satellites orbiting the Earth, taking pictures, transmitting data, all that stuff. But have you ever seen any real-time footage from these satellites? I'm talking about a live feed of the Earth spinning from space. Some people believe that it's because the Earth isn't spinning and that these satellites don't exist. Let's get biblical for a second. In the book of Genesis, it talks about a firmament, a dome-like structure that separates the waters above from the waters below. Some people believe that this firmament is real, and that it's what holds up the stars and prevents the oceans from spilling over. What if the ancients knew something that we've forgotten? What if there's more to our world than what we can see? Speaking of the ancients, they were onto something, man. Many ancient cultures, from the Egyptians to the Mayans, believed in a flat Earth. They had elaborate cosmologies that depicted the Earth as a flat disk, often with a dome or firmament overhead. And these weren't just primitive societies, they were advanced civilizations with sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and mathematics. So why did they believe in a flat Earth? Maybe they were closer to the truth than we are. Let's talk about NASA for a minute. They get billions of dollars in funding every year. Billions! Where's all that money going? Some people believe that it's going into perpetuating the lie about the spinning globe. Think about it. If the Earth is flat, there's no need for space exploration. There's no need for expensive satellites or missions to Mars. The whole space industry becomes a sham, a way to funnel money into the pockets of the elite. It's all about control, man. They want us to believe that we're just a tiny speck in a vast, indifferent universe. We've talked a lot about perspective today. It's how our brains interpret the world around us. And sometimes our perspective can be manipulated. Think about optical illusions. They play tricks on our eyes, making us see things that aren't really there. What if the spinning globe is just a giant optical illusion, a trick of perspective? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. We're constantly bombarded with images and information that reinforce the globe model. But what if it's all part of a grand deception? Now, I've thrown a lot of information at you today. Scientific experiments, historical anomalies, philosophical questions, but sometimes the most compelling evidence is personal experience. There are countless people out there, everyday people, who have seen things with their own eyes that challenge the spinning globe model. Pilots who've flown over Antarctica and had their instruments go haywire. Engineers who've surveyed long distances and found no curvature. These are people with no agenda, no reason to lie. They've simply experienced something that doesn't fit with the official narrative. And their stories deserve to be heard. So there you have it, folks. 20 reasons why the Earth might not be spinning after all. I know it's a lot to take in, it challenges everything we've been taught. But that's the thing about truth, man, it has a way of shaking things up. I'm not saying you have to believe everything you've heard today, but I am asking you to keep an open mind. Do your own research. Question everything. Don't just accept the official narrative blindly. So stay curious, stay skeptical, and most importantly, stay tuned for more mind-blowing content.